Welcome back, everyone. Today I have Dominique here, also another sister friend of Cortland alum. So we're interviewing and we're going to talk about her experience as an educator. You've been in education for how many years now?
I'm going into my 12th year.
12 years. Wow.
In New York City Department of Education.
Okay, so what age group do you teach?
I've taught all ages, but currently I teach 4th grade, and in my school we loop, so that means you're with students for 2 years.
Okay.
So I go between 4th and 5th grade.
So do you think that's effective, or what do you think?
Yes, it is an effective model. I teach in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where the socioeconomic rate of just like really low in poverty. All of my students qualify for free or reduced lunch. Not the best, I guess, neighborhood that would be described for New York City. So just to have them for 2 years, you build relationships with parents, you build relationships with kids. It's a sense of familiarity. It's a sense of like belonging. Oftentimes, like kids in areas like that experience a lot of trauma. And it's important that school is a safe zone, a safe place, and just a place for home. I've looped before in the past. This will be my 4th time going into a loop, 4th and 5th. My first student actually just graduated. She called me, sent me her prom pictures.
Aww.
It makes me feel great because they definitely keep in contact. Like those relationships. I've taken kids to Atlanta, to Virginia on airplanes for the first time, in hotels for the first time. So just being able to like do all of those things, and I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that as a teacher for 1 year. Parents trust me, parents know me, you know, they have my personal number. They've called me for things such as telling me like things going on in their personal life and helping with homework. Like it's just a family. I have a really close relationship with one of my former students who was in like the foster care system, but her aunt adopted her, and like she considers me family. She always says, "You're my family." I actually went to her, she graduated 8th grade, she's on her way to high school.
Okay.
And her aunt is like, "You're my family forever," you know, always like keep in contact. And that, for me, like makes it all worth it.
So you did go to school for urban education, right?
I went to school for childhood education in Cortland with a minor in history. I'm from New York City, I'm from Harlem, so I always knew that I wanted to go back and teach where
You spoke about trauma, and I wanted to ask you, like, what are some things that you do in the classroom to make sure that students are safe? I know that's important, but how do you, like, strategically make your classroom a safe space for students?
I don't know if it's like one thing I do, like one particular thing.
Right.
One thing I've been told I do is I build a community in my classroom. So it is very, very, very inviting, and I really make an effort to get to know my students. Like, get to know, like right now, if you show me my class roster, I can tell you their favorite color, their pets, their this, like those personal things that I think is important because they're little people, and they feel great when you remember things. Like I've been invited to birthday parties, and making an effort to go because like you invited me, so I want to show that like I care about you. I'm your teacher for 2 years, and that means a lot to them. The very smallest little things. If they tell me that, Miss Glover, this weekend I'm gonna go do such and such, and if I ask them about it on Tuesday, you know, you have to see their face. They light up. So I try to make those connections. Because I work with older kids, I do morning meeting and a lot of like community meeting where we have conversations and discussions. Respect is big in my classroom. We respect everybody. I tell them in the beginning of the year, you know, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but we have to respect each other, because I think that's important that kids understand that you don't have to like everybody, but you just have to be amicable to work with them. You know, like it's a working environment, and as long as we respect each other, and they understand that, and I think that's like big. I like to have fun with them, but I also have very, very, very high expectations of them because, you know, it's a very competitive world out here, especially with their peers that are in Park Slope. You know, I think about like they go to middle school in 6th grade, and sometimes they look at the demographics of where your school is, and that determines if you get into middle school. So, you know, I have to push you that extra mile sometimes because I know that you're capable of doing it. And some students don't like it. You know, I have some students that I guess don't like my methods because I want high quality. An example of that is like, if I'm asking you to write, you know, for writing a persuasive essay or something, and I know you can give me more than 2 pages, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
give me more than 2 pages. It's like, what? You know, I get like pushback like that in 4th grade. I don't make them do anything extreme, but
Right.
things like that. But yeah, just I think it's just like a lot of community building things. I do a lot of my class I just had. We went to Brooklyn Bridge Park just for a day of fun. We spent the morning team building, and then I let them play because I think kids need to play. People forget like they're still little humans and still need to exert that energy. But it was great just having them work in groups. I'm often strategic about like my grouping, but I have the kids think that they make the choice. I guess that's a skill of mine from working a long time, because I do have a few kids that are quiet or withdrawn. I have lunch dates with them to the point where they're waiting for me. So in my school we take them down to lunch, and then we get to my class on the 4th floor. So by the time I check my mail, use the bathroom, do all of that, I have literally like 8 kids waiting for me. Sometimes I have to say, I need to eat by myself today, you know, and I feel bad, but they beg, can I come upstairs, can I come upstairs? Yeah. And we just talk about whatever they want to talk about, which I think is like cool too, like you eating with your teacher. Sometimes they're like, Miss Glover, did you know? It's the most random things, but like those opportunities I think are important, more than academics. Academics is important, but like those personal connections are what like matter.
So 11 years.
Yeah, it feels like 5.
Really?
Yeah.
But what do you think are the key things that allowed you to make it to this point, like in your first year, not giving up? Like what are you here today?
I think I had some great like mentors. My sister was a teacher, and she went on to be a principal. So I definitely always have her to call on, like if something, and she works in the New York City school system as well, so she's familiar. I have a cousin that's a teacher, and then just people that I've met along the way, like from my old school I was working at, my current school now. One just telling me just little things. I don't know everything, you know, like when you're young, you're eager, you want to change, but you don't know everything, so you have to like sometimes just take a step back and listen. I remember my 2nd year, the data specialist at my school was like, Glover, you know, just he was like, don't fight everything, or don't challenge everything, just like let it go. And like that kind of stuck with me, and it almost benefited me, I think. I'm a very open-minded person too. Education is constantly changing. Like now Common Core is now next gen, and if you are not like open to the changes and like kind of stuck in your way, and my way is the way, then you're not going to ever be successful. My school rolled out a new math curriculum. I was one of 2 teachers that was like, I'm going to give it my all, because it may work, it may not work, but I can't say it's not going to work if I don't try it. And I think that's important, that teachers realize, like education is one of those fields that it's changing constantly, and you know, you just have to go in with an open mind, and sometimes things won't work, and it's not the end all be all, you know, you just make changes. And every year I'm very reflective on like what worked in my classroom, what I want to change for the next year. And yeah.
Are you involved with any of those committees that make the changes in your school?
I am. So my school is a school that reopened. The New York City used to have a policy where when a school fails, they close it. So my school opened up in place of a closing school. So I'm actually, I guess, a founding teacher of the school. And so I've worked with my principal. I mean, I've known my principal for over 10 years. She was a teacher with me in my former school. Now she's a principal. So I've sat on committees to choosing curriculum, to like instructional teams, so did a lot in the past 2 years, like leading professional development with other teachers, working with other teachers in other schools, like definitely.
So in what ways are collaboration important or relevant to your teaching?
Well, my school's core value, one of our core values is collaboration. The name of my school is the Riverdale Avenue Community School. Resilience, awareness, collaboration equals success. So that is extremely important. I work on the 4th floor. We work in a shared space. But from day one, even if you're a new teacher, I'm making my way. And I think that's just like my personality, to introduce myself, to say hello, because you never know when you're going to cross paths with someone. You never know when you're going to need someone. You can't like have a shut door policy, or this is my classroom. You never know, like we as educators all have so much input. I think about like when I'm sitting in a meeting with other educators, and the knowledge that's in that room. And sometimes people like are not willing to speak up, but that's like extremely important because I may not know the answer.
Yeah.
That's why we're together. I think like in my school, I know we do a lot of like staff team building events. And like right now I'm beginning a new position as the team lead for 4th and 5th grade. So I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited, but like nervous at the same time to like leading 2 grades. And I'm already thinking like we have to make sure, and some new teachers on the team, like that we're all like we're one big team. It's not like you're 4th, I'm 5th. It's not a division. It's one. And I think my principal does a great job of that, and like in her leadership, and she has a very distributive leadership model. So it's like it's the leadership basically is distributed into many roles across the school. So it's not just one. It's not top down. Yeah.
So that's a lot. How do you balance your time?
I do not work summers anymore. I take a lot of vacations. I just came from vacation. I do not do any work on Saturdays. Saturday is my day. And this all came within a couple of years. I was that eager teacher, but I realized I am not trying to get burnt out by the time I'm 40. I believe in self-care. I don't take many days off. I do feel guilty. This year I was sick, like I was legit sick for 2 days, and I was like I have to get to work because you feel guilty like that you're leaving the kids, but you gotta self-care is extremely important. But not working summers, taking vacations. I went on vacation every break we had. I have another vacation planned this summer. And Saturday is my day, and sometimes Sunday. But yeah, I tried it this year to leave work at work, so I would stay after work. And when I got home, it is my time. Because you can't, you don't ever leave the work home. You're constantly, like right now, I'm thinking about school. Even it's still in the back of my head. You don't really ever leave it, but you have to sometimes. You have to like make time for yourself. All my friends would tell you, all she cares about is the kids. Which I also think is important, but like my personal life is important too.
So it seems like it's easy for you to say no, or put your foot down, or set those boundaries. Is it? Or
No,
it's not.
It's not easy to say no.
So what do you?
I just have to like have a lot of be real with myself. And I'm learning like even one of my principal's feedback is like learn to ask for help when needed, because I don't. I'll just like take on everything like I can do it, and then realize like, oh God, I'm so overwhelmed.
Right.
Oh my God, I can't get this done. Oh my God, it's not gonna be the best. I'm too hard on myself. Like my coach shared with me that all my kids passed their ELA math test, and I was like, but I'm like, I felt like some days I wasn't doing enough.
Right.
And she was like, you did something, because they all met. Like none of my kids had to go to summer school, and that felt great, especially coming from a district where we have 10% proficiency. So like knowing that like I got I just had those kids for 1 year, I got them there, it felt great. But some days I felt like, am I doing enough? And I think that's just the hard work in me, wanting them to be amazing people.
Is there any like routine that you have when you go into work, just to make sure like you're getting the things that you need to get done, so that when you go home and on the weekends, you're not like flustered with your work?
I come to work an hour early, because I have to be early. Make my charts, I write up my message on the board, I make my copies. This year more, I've tried after work to get ready for the next day. Doesn't always happen. I set times too, like I made a personal plan, like okay, so Monday is my day to work on this, Tuesday I'm leaving. I had days where I stayed after school to work if I needed longer than 4 o'clock, and days that I left right after school. And that was like my day that I chose. Like Tuesdays was my day I went home. And it's a joke in my book. I'm like, oh, Glover, you have your bag on at 3? Like what happened? What's something? Like, because I'm always there.
So what is one like important piece of advice that you have that sticks with you, that you remember daily in your practice?
Every day is a new day. Every day is a new day. And if something doesn't work, it's okay. Don't become defeated. Try it again. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be human. And yeah, I think if you are transparent like that with your students and letting them know, and I always let them know, I will make mistakes. It'll be really smooth. And even like having that mindset, okay, today math didn't work, or today's writing lesson was hard. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm not gonna go in tomorrow like, oh, this is bad, and because that can make you anxious. It causes a lot. Every day is a new day. Every day is a new day, and I think like having that mindset and being open and flexible to the changes. I drive now to work, but I used to take the train, and I would like replay the day, like, okay, today's Tuesday, I'm doing this, and this. And then you walk into the building, and then you get an email, or you get a schedule change, or you get this, and you get that.
Yeah.
And guess what? You can either be like, but I had, or, okay, gotta just roll with it.
Right.
Gotta make some changes, gotta flip some things around, and it'll be okay. And I think like with that mindset, I'm just like, okay, it'll be all right. Like, again, like I said, we get so stuck in our ways, like, but I'm supposed to teach reading, and then writing, and then, And like, I work with older kids, allowing them to have a choice. I did a survey in the beginning of the year to ask them when they would prefer learning what. They prefer to do reading in the afternoon. I was like, what? I think reading should be done at 9. Guess what? We did reading at 2, and they actually read. And I was like, wow, they prefer to do math in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. And this was like just that group. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this into account because clearly they know something about themselves.
Right.
Things like that, like being flexible. Like my school sends out a sample schedule, but if I'm still hitting the targets for the day, I'm gonna switch it around,
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. See you soon.